It is 25 degrees outside, the windows are beginning to frost, and every instinct tells you to start the vehicle and leave it running until morning. That may feel like the easiest way to stay warm, but it should not be your overnight heating plan. Exhaust can find its way back into a vehicle through damaged seals, changing wind, deep snow, or a blocked tailpipe. Carbon monoxide is especially dangerous because you cannot see it, smell it, or reliably notice the symptoms while you are asleep. By the time you realize something is wrong, you may already be too confused or weak to respond. A carbon monoxide detector is still worth carrying, but it should be treated as emergency backup rather than permission to idle all night. Idling also consumes fuel, creates unnecessary engine wear, and leaves the engine running for hours without the sustained operating temperature it normally reaches while driving. So tonight, the engine stays off. The good news is that you do not need to warm the entire van. Your goal is much simpler: protect the heat your body is already producing. The average person gives off a steady amount of warmth throughout the night. In a small vehicle, that can be enough to keep you comfortable, but only when you stop losing that heat through the floor, glass, damp clothing, moving air, and an inadequate sleep system. Once you understand where the warmth escapes, cold weather sleeping becomes less about buying expensive equipment and more about building the right layers in the right order. The first place to look is underneath your body. A lot of people spend nearly all their money on a thick sleeping bag and then place it directly on a basic mattress, an uninsulated airbed, or the steel floor of the vehicle. That is a mistake. When you lie down, your weight compresses the insulation beneath you. The fluffy material that keeps you warm on top becomes almost completely flat underneath. At that point, the sleeping bag is doing very little to protect you from the cold surface below. The floor, mattress, or air inside an uninsulated pad begins pulling heat away from your body through conduction. You may have several blankets over your chest and still wake up feeling cold through your back, hips, and shoulders. That is why your sleeping pad's R value matters. R value is a measure of how well the pad resists heat moving through it. A lightweight summer pad may work perfectly in warm weather, but feel almost useless when the temperature drops near freezing. For colder nights, an insulated pad with a higher R value is a much better choice. You do not necessarily need to replace your entire bed. Place a closed-cell foam mat beneath your current mattress or inflatable pad. You can even layer two pads together because their insulating values combine. That inexpensive foam barrier may not look impressive, but it can make a bigger difference than adding another blanket on top. Once the floor is handled, focus on your bedding. Do not rely only on the largest temperature number printed on the sleeping bag. Look for the comfort rating rather than the extreme or lower limit rating. The lower limit number may describe a temperature at which an average person can make it through the night without immediate danger, but that does not mean the person will be sleeping comfortably. A bag advertised for 20 degrees may leave you cold at 30 degrees depending on the rating system, your clothing, the mattress underneath you, humidity, wind, and whether you naturally sleep warm or cold. Choose a bag rated colder than the conditions you realistically expect. A warmer bag can always be opened, loosened, or vented. A bag that is too light cannot suddenly create insulation it does not have. You can improve an existing setup without replacing everything. Add a quilt or blanket over the sleeping bag, use a fleece liner inside it, or layer a second lightweight sleeping bag over the first. Avoid placing something extremely heavy over a down bag because crushing the insulation reduces its loft. Loft, or the trapped air inside the insulation, is what slows heat loss. Pay attention to the shape of the bag too. A wide rectangular bag gives you room to move, but it also leaves more empty space for your body to warm. A mummy-style bag fits closer around the body and usually retains heat better. Whichever style you use, close the zipper fully, tighten the opening around your shoulders, and use the hood when it is genuinely cold. Next, change what you wear to bed. Cotton may feel comfortable around the house, but it is a poor choice in a cold vehicle. It absorbs moisture and dries slowly. Even a small amount of sweat can leave a cotton shirt or pair of socks damp. Once your activity stops and your body cools down, that damp material begins working against you. Wear a dry base layer made from merino wool or a moisture-wicking synthetic material. The clothing should fit comfortably without being so tight that it restricts circulation. Several thin layers are usually more useful than one bulky layer because they trap pockets of air and can be adjusted throughout the night. Do not climb into bed wearing the same clothing you wore while cooking, hiking, setting up camp, or driving for hours. It may feel dry, but it can still contain perspiration. Change into dedicated sleep clothing before entering your bedding. Keep a separate pair of socks used only for sleeping. Store them in a sealed bag during the day so they stay completely dry. When bedtime comes, remove the socks you have been wearing and replace them with the sleeping pair. Doubling up on tight socks can sometimes make your feet colder by restricting blood flow, so use one warm, dry pair that fits properly. Add a beanie and, when needed, a light neck gaiter. Your head is not magically responsible for most of your body's heat loss, but it may be one of the only areas left exposed after you climb into the bag. Covering your ears and neck can noticeably improve comfort. A beanie also works as a simple temperature control. If you wake up feeling too warm, remove it before opening the entire sleeping bag. Preventing excessive sweating is important because moisture that feels harmless at midnight may make you cold several hours later. Before getting into bed, warm yourself rather than the van. Do a few minutes of light movement, such as walking around, organizing your equipment, performing a few gentle squats, or moving your arms and legs. Do not exercise hard enough to sweat. The objective is simply to increase circulation and enter the sleeping bag warm. A sleeping bag does not produce heat. It only slows down the loss of heat your body has already created. If you climb inside while you are already shivering, the insulation will trap cold air around you, and it may take a long time to become comfortable. You can also preheat the foot area with a hot water bottle. Use a durable container specifically rated for hot water. Tighten the lid carefully, check it for leaks, wrap it in a cloth, and place it near the bottom of the bag before bedtime. Never use a flimsy disposable bottle that could soften, split, or leak. Move the bottle near your core for a few minutes if you need to warm up quickly, but avoid placing extremely hot material directly against bare skin. Done safely, a hot water bottle can provide warmth for several hours and may still be slightly warm in the morning. Food plays a role as well. Eat a proper evening meal containing carbohydrates, protein, and some fat. Your body needs calories to maintain its temperature, and digestion itself produces a small amount of heat. This is not permission to make yourself sick by overeating, but a cold night is not the time to go to bed hungry after eating only a small snack. A warm drink can also be comforting. Stay hydrated throughout the day rather than drinking a huge amount immediately before bed. Dehydration makes it harder for your body to regulate temperature, but repeatedly leaving the vehicle in freezing weather is not ideal either. A wide-mouth bottle reserved for nighttime bathroom needs can prevent unnecessary exposure, provided it can be used hygienically and stored securely. Now comes the part that sounds wrong: ventilation. Closing every window as tightly as possible traps moisture along with the warmth. Throughout the night, your breath releases water vapor into the cabin. Damp clothing, wet shoes, snow-covered equipment, and cooking can add even more. That moisture collects on the coldest surfaces, especially the glass and metal walls. Eventually, it can reach your blankets, mattress, and sleeping bag. Once insulation becomes damp, it performs worse and takes a long time to dry in winter. Open two windows slightly to create gentle cross ventilation. You do not need a large gap. A small opening on opposite sides of the vehicle is often enough to keep air moving. Rain guards can help prevent weather from entering while allowing the windows to remain cracked. Insulated window covers should still be used on the remaining glass because windows transfer heat quickly. Reflective covers, foam inserts, or purpose-made insulated shades can reduce drafts and slow heat loss. Just do not seal the vehicle so completely that moisture has nowhere to escape. It also helps to reduce the amount of space surrounding your sleeping area. Hang a curtain or blanket behind the front seats so your body is not exposed to every draft moving through the entire cabin. The curtain does not turn the rear of the van into a heated room, but it creates a smaller, calmer sleeping zone and reduces air movement around your bedding. Keep tomorrow morning in mind too. Place the clothes you plan to wear inside the sleeping area, ideally near your feet or beside your body without compressing the sleeping bag. When you wake up, the clothing will be slightly warm instead of feeling like it came directly out of a freezer. Keep boots and wet outerwear outside the sleeping bag. Brush off snow before bringing anything into the vehicle, and place damp gear in a designated area where it cannot touch your bedding. In the morning, wipe condensation from the windows and air out the sleeping bag before packing it away. Finally, know when the system is not enough. Persistent or violent shivering, confusion, clumsiness, slurred speech, unusual exhaustion, or difficulty making simple decisions are warning signs of dangerous cold exposure. They are not challenges to push through. Get warm, move to shelter, contact someone, or drive somewhere safer. Always keep enough fuel to relocate. Know where the nearest open business or heated building is, and check the overnight forecast before settling in. Cold weather vehicle camping is not about proving how much discomfort you can tolerate. It is about managing heat intelligently. Insulate beneath yourself, keep your clothing dry, use properly rated bedding, control moisture, eat enough, block drafts, and always have an exit plan. You are not trying to create a tropical cabin in the middle of winter. You are simply trying to keep the warmth you already have from escaping faster than your body can replace it. What is the one piece of cold weather gear you would never spend a freezing night without? Leave it in the comments because your answer may help someone preparing for their first winter night in a vehicle.